I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? It is a wonderful day, and I am so excited to bring you this new thing that I'm doing. Okay, so a lot of people ask me, Yaya, how did you start the podcast? Why did you start the podcast? And all things. And can I start a podcast? And how can I do that? And what kind of equipment do you have? And all kinds of just different questions. And can you make this your primary job? Can you bring in money, and do this for a living? And we're going to talk about some of that today. And I'm also going to be doing tutorials here and there. And most of my tutorials, this particular one is going to be everywhere. But if you tune into my YouTube channel, so don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. The YouTube channel is Dream Chasers Radio. Thank you guys so much for watching on Twitter, on Facebook pages. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. So let's go ahead and get into this whole thing. What is a podcast and what is an interview podcast? It's totally different. Interview podcasts are a little bit different than, like a regular podcast. So a regular podcast to me would be like stories, people talking back and forward, talking about different subjects and things like that. But no, we are adding another element to this entire complexity altogether. And that's having another person on there that has really sometimes an idea on the questions, and sometimes they don't have an idea of what you're going to ask them. So it depends on you. So let's go ahead and go into what is an interview podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my page here on YouTube, and I'm going to show you exactly the way I run my interview podcast and what it is to me. I can't really tell everybody, oh, this is an interview podcast, but it's having a guest on your show. It's someone who, other than you, will, entertain your audience. You'll get information from them and everything. So being a interview podcast like I am, there's just a lot of different factors in there. It could go completely bad really fast. So what you want to do is you want to be prepared. Interviewing people is a skill, and it's a skill that can be developed. And so like yesterday, I did a live podcast, and I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and grab my page. And you guys know how I love to share my screen with you when I'm doing these tutorials. So let's go here. So as you can see here, I am on my YouTube channel, and on my YouTube channel are hundreds of videos of interviews, just literally hundreds of interviews on videos and interviews. And we could talk about the big ones. We can talk about the up and comings. We can talk about people who are doing their businesses, writing books and things like that. So basically what this whole thing is just putting it together. Now I'm going to put you in a live scenario. So this is a live interview that I had with Slayer the G. And I don't know if you guys tuned into that, but that is actually available now. So Slayer the G came on the podcast, and he came on live. And so as soon as this kind of comes up and we're able to see this, hold on a second. It's Yaya Diamond. What's up, guys? I am so excited. I got a live show for you. I know it's been about 2 weeks since I've gone live, and everything's because I'm using my internet. The actual video is not as good as it should be, but it's a really great quality. So we can just keep going. Happening, but I have an artist today. You guys don't even know I have an artist today, and we're gonna go ahead and listen to some music. And we're gonna have an interview. And we're gonna have a lot of fun. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So as you can see, I'm talking, I'm just kind of introducing my guest on the show. I'm setting everything up, and that is what an interview does. We set things up. Sometimes the names can be kind of difficult. What do you do when you get a difficult name? Well, you have them introduce themselves, or you actually ask them how to pronounce their names beforehand. So it depends on how you do it. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I've been practicing on names and things like that. So, sometimes you just have to practice. So that's just pretty much what it is. When you bring your guest on the show, you want to make sure that they're comfortable with you. A lot of times I don't give out questions because I just don't, I like to follow my guests. I like to be able to, follow what they're saying. Like in this episode here, my guest, Slayer the G, he actually, let me see if I can find it, where he brought out a ruler. And so if you see the ruler, this ruler here that he brought out was a big deal to him. And I saw that. I saw when he brought it out. So we have to pay attention as people who are doing podcasts and doing interviews and being an interview podcast. Pay attention to your guests. Pay attention to their movements, to their thoughts, what they repeat. And these are just, podcasting tips right there. So basically, an interview podcast is when you have a guest on the show. Do you submit questions to your guests? That is another question altogether. And it is totally up to you to actually give your guests questions. I don't. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, yeah. How do you know what to do? How do you know how to, to do the questions? How do you know how do you do that?" Well, the biggest thing I have is that people have to submit as much information about themselves as possible and exactly what they want to talk about. Then I do my research. I go and I look them up and I read and I study on them so that when they come on the show, I'm familiar with them. I kind of know them and I know what they want and I know where they're headed. And then I listen to them, when we have interviews with celebrities. So let me go ahead and share this page, but I'm going to go ahead and put this to a different interview because Slayer G was amazing. He was an amazing guest. He had so much stuff to talk about, and it's wonderful. But when you have a guest like, let's say, Anthony Hamilton, which was one of my favorite interviews with celebrities so far, Anthony Hamilton was an amazing guest. He was just very easy to talk to, very easy to converse with, as far as what he wanted to do and what he was doing. But the one thing that I loved about this interview with Anthony Hamilton was that he got super personal with it. He was so nice. He talked about his children. He talked about what he did with his children that weekend. He was very interpersonal with it. So a lot of times when you have a guest on the show and they want to get personal with it, go as far as they want to go with it. Just go with it, and let them talk. Listening is a big key to having an interview podcast. So that is the biggest thing. So it says how to start an interview podcast. I heard Denzel Washington say, how do you, when the question, when the question came up, he says, what kind of suggestion do you give, actors and actresses today? He says, act. It's just act. So how do you start an interview podcast? You start with your family, your friends, people with businesses, people that you've always found interesting that you wanted to, talk to them about it. Put it on video, put it on audio. Should you have an audio podcast? Should you have a video podcast? These are things we're going to talk about in a second. But starting is not that hard. You can actually go on YouTube, start your own account, get a small little Logitech camera, get a small, or just get like a little ear or piece of microphone piece, put it on your shirt and begin going. You're gonna need an earphone when you begin to talk with people. You can get headphones with a microphone. You can get whatever you want to begin. A lot of people start their stuff on their phone. I mean, just start. Start. If you want an audio podcast, there's all different kinds of audio places, all different kinds of servers that you can go on to start your audio podcast. You don't need any money to start at all. And as a matter of fact, people can support you by giving you any kind of funds that you need, $5 a month, $9 a month. You can start all different kinds of things. So we're going to talk about that in a different episode. But that's called crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a big deal. So that's how you start. You just begin. And when we get more into detail on where we can go, and the next episode will be, where do I go to start my podcast? That's going to be the next episode. Advantages and disadvantages. I'm going to talk about that now, but let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of this interview with Anthony Hamilton, which I love dearly and so very much. Everything. And you said, this is what I'm going to do. What was the biggest lesson that you learned right at that moment that kind of turned you around a little bit?
That it's not just music, it's a business, and you have to be ready to tackle the business in order to see the fruit of your labor with the music. And I wasn't ready for that. I thought it was just you sing and you just go out there and you just sing and you love it and you travel the world and you get paid. But you won't get paid if you don't sign those papers in the right papers and having knowledge of what you're signing and what you're getting into.
So again, that interview with Anthony Hamilton was amazing. And if you haven't seen that, you can go ahead and go to my YouTube channel, Dream Chasers Radio, and check that out. And also on Instagram, I also put that up on Instagram. Let me go ahead and put you on the YouTube channel here. So the YouTube channel is Dream Chasers Radio. Okay, so advantages and disadvantages of having a video podcast or an audio podcast for that matter. Dedication. That's it. It's just dedication. What do you want to do? Do you want to be a great podcast or mediocre podcast? Do you just want to have audio? Do you just want to have video? It's just dedication. It's what you want to do. Are there advantages? Yes, there's advantages. The advantage of having other people surrounding you with positivity or whichever category you choose, it could be talking about movies. It could be having guests on from movies, indie films. It could be, you could do anything in podcasting, that you want to do. And I'm here right now. So you guys, if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to ask. So, it's so cool to have a podcast. So the advantages are you surround yourself with people you normally wouldn't meet every day or whichever days that you decide that you want to broadcast. And we'll go into that in another video, because this is the video kind of getting started of, am I really, really, truly interested in starting a podcast? Is this something I really want to do? And so I'm going to tell you the advantages of having the podcast, I said, is, meeting people that you don't normally meet every day, surrounding yourself with like-minded people who are interested in doing the same things that you're doing, and just having fun. The disadvantages, okay, like anything, you're going to have a lot of fun doing this. The flip side is the disadvantages are you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. If you release once a month, and I know people say, oh, if you got to release once a month, you got to release on the second day of the month and this and that and the other. No, I'm going to say that you can release once a month any time of that month. Just say, hey, I release one podcast a month, and this is the topic. You put a topic out, you set a date, you record, you get yourself, you edit it, because this is the opposite side of everything. So I don't think there's a disadvantage, but the disadvantages are what you deem as a disadvantage. If you deem that editing and committing yourself to editing is a disadvantage, then it is. If you deem that you don't have questions and formulating questions is something that makes you comfortable, but you don't want to do it, then that's your disadvantage. I don't find anything to be a disadvantage to podcasting, only because I enjoy it. I enjoy having people on the show. I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy the results, and everything to get me to that point of having those results is not a disadvantage. It's just a journey to get there. That's it. So I do have a couple of questions or comments. Hi. Yes, consistency definitely is key. And thank you so much. I can't pronounce your name, but thank you so much. So as we look at the video right here of Anthony Hamilton, that was a result of someone telling me, hey, Yaya, these people are looking at you and they want you to interview their people, because you interviewed one person from this particular company, and you did an amazing job. So they're now asking for you by name. And I'm not going to say who that is, but what I am going to say is it freaked me out because it is an amazing thing. When you love what you do, it shows. That is a big plus, guys. You have to love it. You've got to love it. So when you do something, whatever the case may be, podcasting, customer service, you open up your own business, stocks trading, whatever, day trading, whatever you do, there is a journey to get to the result. And looking at it as a disadvantage will keep you from doing it. And it'll also keep you from doing it good. So the journey is the journey, guys. I don't see a disadvantage in doing podcasting. I only see advantages because I love the end results. I love talking to people, and I love having them on my show. So there, to me, this is my opinion. This is me. There is no disadvantages to being a podcaster and having a audio or video podcast except for dedication. And if that is a problem, then that is your disadvantage, and you got to work through it, because if you want to do this, you're going to have to do it anyway. So all right, so we're looking at Anthony Hamilton's interview. Let's go ahead and go back. And I'm going to just go back to my page here. And I'm going to go into an interview that I did that took me here. Hold on a second. Let me go to the videos. It took me a while to do the editing. I really had to research this one and do a lot of editing for it. And in the end, it turned out amazing. It took me a few days to do. This is going to take a minute to come up, guys. It took me a few days to do, and it was a pleasure going through her audio. And as she spoke the audio, I literally grabbed all the names that she said and looked and researched these people and put them in the video. So if you watch the video, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of let it go a little bit. I have to wait for it to load. Give me 1 second. So she's talking here, and this is the actress director Allison Mills Newman. She is the first Black teenager to ever star in a reoccurring role in Hollywood on TV, and female teenager. And she's worked with look at these people. Look at this. She's worked with all these people. Let me go ahead and put this up here. So the actual editing is what we're looking at.
Or to imagine that I was an actress, that I wanted to act. But as time went on, I saw a TV show called Peyton Place. Hmm. And there was a young girl on that show, a young actress in her 20s. And she kind of reminded me of me, even though she was white, because when you're 12 and 13, you're not conscious of the battles that go on in terms of being Black and white. You just see people. You just see people, and you don't understand the warfare, the racism and demonic, situations that our ancestors have been in. And in my case, my parents tried to protect me until a certain time, and protect all of us, let us have a kid life, and not actually know about all of that. So when I saw Mia Farrow, it kind of reminded me of me, because at the time I had really long wavy hair and, big eyes and stuff. And I was able to identify somehow and say, that's what I want to do. So be an actress. And I was not cognizant that that meant being famous, or that potentially could mean being famous. I wasn't cognizant that it potentially.
So basically, Miss Newman, if we continue to watch here, Miss Newman, she actually became that actress. She actually started, and now she's directing her own movies. But the editing part of this, because there were a few challenges, but ultimately, this was an amazing interview. I went down memory lane with this woman. She's worked with all kinds of different people. And I took my time to do this because I really, really love the stories behind what she was saying and just everything. So the joy of being a podcaster, it needs to be there. You need to be very transparent with it and smile and be interested in what your guests are talking about. So starting a podcast and being an interview podcast, totally two different things, but just pay attention and look at this. Look at it as we're talking right now. You're seeing things flashing on the screen. These are edits that I made because she was talking about the times and the time that she became who she became and all the things that were going on around her as she was becoming the number one top actress, a teenager at 17 years old in her time. So, this is what we do as podcasters, but not just podcasters, audio. That's the video side. But you can take the audio from your video and put it up as your audio podcast. Another wonderful tip. So, steps on getting on it. Just started. We're going to talk about that in another episode. I've been giving you special tips and tricks. So if you didn't get a few, please rewind this and go back and check this video out and look at this again. Can you make this your primary income? Can podcasting be your income? Can you make money from this? Yes. Yes, you can. There's so many different ways to make money from podcasting. I think that people don't know that you can do this. This is my job. Yaya Diamond is a podcaster. I have my TV shows. I have my singing. This is my job. This is what I do. This is my primary income. It took me a while to get here, but this is my primary income. And how do you do that? Well, we're just going to have to go ahead and have another session, and that's where my class comes in. And I've been here 25 minutes so far, and I'm going to go ahead and finish, but we have so much to talk about, and some of this stuff will be up on YouTube. If you want to contact me, go ahead and go to yayadiamond.com, or you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram, but please subscribe to the Dream Chasers Radio channel on YouTube to find out about podcasting. Is it for you? What does it take? The next thing that we're going to be talking about is the steps and where can you podcast, the audio podcast and all kinds of different things. And I think that, podcasting will lead you to other different entrepreneurial adventures in the future. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and don't forget to dare to be different. Don't forget to go ahead, if you want to contact me, go ahead and go to yayadiamond.com as well as Instagram, the Yaya Diamond. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dream Chasers Radio. And this here is also my commercial. Like I said, you will be thrown into different things when you go into podcasting because it is an entrepreneurial adventure. And don't forget to dare to be different, guys. Until next time, bye. And hey, don't forget to check out my new perfume and cologne line.
Our love will never end. I love you more than anything. Now I know what love is. Your embrace is everything to me. My kiss will linger longer. Yaya Diamond's Refresh Cologne for men.
I did to be different.